Well, there is a feminist movement, and I think that feminist movement is for women who are for, I don't want to use the word, but rather are for, equality in
Okay.
everything, masculinity, equality, male dominated industry equalities, right? So there are women who believe in that. But
Sure.
also I feel like femininity is also women who don't want to be corrected.
Okay.
Yes, who don't want to share
Around their feminist
around their feminism that,
Yeah.
sometimes men are not always in the wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate. Just maybe an example.
Men are not always in the wrong. And I feel like because we are in a society where we always want to bash men, we will always want to, it's men's fault, it's men, everything, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like men deserve to be heard. And I feel like there are feminists who don't want to, give that chance. I'm going to make an example. Remember the issue of Tolesmo?
Yeah.
So Tolesmo apparently, allegedly had raped, a certain someone in the industry.
Yeah.
And I remember on Twitter, it was the feminists who were like, we believe her,
Yeah.
before they had actually heard what happened. So I feel like society is dealing with such,
Yeah.
where, you're guilty even before you prove that you're innocent.
Sure.
Mm.
Sure. So basically, the term feminism is being overused. Is that what you're saying? Is it used?
I don't necessarily feel like it's being overused. I feel like, there are women, maybe we can use the word misuse. And I feel like there are women who want to be feminists, right? For instance, this poem, what's her name again? Ngozi Chimamande Adichie, right? She's Nigerian, and I hope I pronounce her word. It's Ngozi Chimamande Adichie. I forgot it.
Sure.
So in this poem of hers, she talks about women who are who are feminists. She talks about the power of feminism. She talks about why we are not equal with men and women. Why men or boys are taught that you need to study, go to work and work hard for your family, while the rest of us are taught that you need to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and bake kids.
Sure.
So she's trying to correct that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just feel like, can we not misuse it?
Yeah. All right. Says Genile Sanbuna. Hello.
Please edit that out. Edit that out. Do not even.
Why? Says Kuyo. How you
Are we recording?
Yeah. I think
this entire time.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, edit that out.
Yeah. Why not? Why? Why should I? How you guys?
We're good.
We're good.
It's been a while. Fifi, Kozagalan, where have you been? As a recorder, since next. Please do that.
Hi guys, hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the L&R podcast. We are so happy to be here, happy to be back. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
I've missed this space so much. But yeah, sibe busy kakhulu, and yeah, we're glad to be back, and we're back with a bang.
I hope I'm not the bang.
You are. Why not?
Yeah.
I hope I'm not the bang.
Yeah, man. Should I do it also?
No.
No.
You don't have to.
Hey.
Just introduce yourself.
Reintroduce myself, right? Hey.
Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up? My name is SK, aka Uncle SK.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this epic episode. Thanks and my intro. But yeah. Anyways, Fufu.
Hello.
Ujan.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes,
it's so weird.
But you are back with the bang, and that means you are the
right?
bang.
Yeah, she is the bang.
Let me tell you.
She is the bang.
This is so weird. So weird because I'm the one who's normally on the other side of the mic.
Yeah.
Sure.
And having to sit here and be on the other side.
How does it feel?
It's nerve-wracking. I'll say it's very, very
Really?
nerve-wraking.
So at least now you get to be in
No,
the
I
other
understand,
person's
you know,
shoes, right? Now you
I
understand.
understand because people always come to the show and be like,
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm like, I'm relax. We're gonna have a conversation.
Relax.
And I know you've been saying that to me since I got here. It's like relax. I'm like, Vivi, can't. Can I have water, please?
But
Yeah.
you've done this before. I mean.
Well, this is actually my first podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Definitely. This is
Exclusive.
Yeah,
This is more exclusive.
Yeah.
I
this
mean.
this is literally my first podcast. I've never done a podcast before.
Mm.
The only thing I do is just be behind a mic on radio. But yeah, podcast no.
Dope.
So
Dope.
yeah, I broke my virginity today.
Dango.
Oh, Naza.
Listen.
Naza.
And we're glad we break a la, the L&R podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, please tell us just a bit about you. Ubano Fufu.
Yeah, let's take it from the top.
Sure. Well, it's actually Nomfundo Zimo.
Oh, okay.
That's my name.
Okay.
Yeah. Idea me bizo Nomfundo Sibongile Zimo.
Sibongile.
Ish, guys. Okay,
Sibongile.
let's not talk about
Splash.
Yeah, so that is me. I was actually born in KZN, Pietermaritzburg, some couple of 30-something years ago.
Okay.
And then at that time, that's where my mom and my dad were staying. So yeah, and then at some point we moved to Standerton. That's because that's where they found a job. And then I probably stayed with my grandparents for a couple of years until I joined them in Standerton. I've been staying in Standerton ever since. So
With your grandparents in
KZN,
before
yes.
you could
So
join the parent. Okay.
what happened is that when I was born, my parents were not married. So then they got married, and then at a later stage, I joined them and I started living with my parents, and that was in Standerton.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a mother to a teenager.
Nazo.
Sure.
Yeah.
How's that
15.
though? How's
Yeah,
that?
I wanted to ask because I actually saw like her bio, right? It's like
Sure.
mother is one of like the first
Yeah.
things that is listed
Yeah,
there.
yes,
yeah,
definitely I am.
So do you like hold that in like
I
way
do.
high regard
I
than other
hold
things?
it in a high regard because even though I did get pregnant at 19,
Okay.
which is something I do not condone, especially to the teenagers, right?
Yeah.
I absolutely do not condone it, but I hold it in high regard because I regard it as a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah, I regard it as a blessing. She is a teenager now. Has not been easy. Has not been easy. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, my parents helped throughout, the 15 years of her life, and yeah, it hasn't been easy, and especially now because she's a teenager, right?
Yeah.
I think I gravitate towards it because I understood, or I understand what a teenager is. So uno wenza izinto, and I'm like, Tando, I was 15. I know your move, so if you're gonna call me and be like, listen, I have extra classes, I'm gonna be late, I'm like, no, you don't.
Are we not Are we
Yeah.
not our mothers?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no.
It's like, actually, I think a month ago, I actually sent my mother a message and I was like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for putting you through what I put you through when I was a teenager, because I now totally understand.
That is so sweet and so much.
Yeah,
you.
no, I did.
Yeah.
I sent her. She was like, I've been waiting for that my entire life because you're now experiencing it. But it's very challenging, but I'm enjoying it.
And how was it being 19-year-old you being pregnant? How was it? And that time
Fiona,
of your life?
it was very difficult. It was a very difficult time in my life because I was 19. I was in school. I was naive, very gullible at that time, and I was seeing someone who was 7 years my senior, and at that time when you're 19 and you're trying to experience in this whole relationship thing, you're thinking, uzojola nomuntu, and you guys gonna get married and you're gonna end up, with the home, with the dog and a white picket fence, and we know that's not how it is. So at 19, I saw that, and I also felt like I was kind of also taken advantage of because I was young. And I didn't know anything about, being in a relationship and dating at the same time, let alone being pregnant at 19. So it was very difficult. It being Nandi, even as a kaya, being Nandi. My parents were livid. My dad was livid. So it was not easy, you know. And at that time in my life, I couldn't even enjoy, you know, pregnancy because number one, I'm 19. I shouldn't even be pregnant. But, you know, I'm supposed to be enjoying this beautiful gift that God gave woman.
Did you feel like it was a gift at that time? Sorry to interject.
No. I don't really feel like it was a gift at that time. I only felt it at a later stage. At some point in a later stage, I felt like it was meant to happen at that time. It's just that no one will ever understand. I didn't feel like it. I just felt like this is a mistake. I don't know what to do. I just need to find my way.
And school, how was that?
It was difficult because I think at that time I was writing my exams, and you know, I was also pregnant, and at that time, 40 society, you know, a lot of girls were getting pregnant at that time. So, you know, it was like, nobody, she's also pregnant. It was always like, you know, a shocking thing at that time. So it was quite difficult, but luckily I passed very well, which I was like, sure, because you know, I think my parents had like given up hope at that time. They were like, she's not even going to pass well, but I did. And it was just a very difficult time in my life. And I think at my age right now, I should be probably having like a second child. I have probably 3 kids. I can't even get to that because I'm still not even over that first trauma that I went through at 19. Because I still feel like even though my parents were there, but the person who actually got me into the situation was not there. And I think that's one thing I needed the most. The support from the very same person who got me into this position wasn't there. So I'm still battling, you know, with the trauma. This is why this entire years I've been very careful. Uguti, I don't repeat that mistake. Right now I'm just looking for someone, a great partner who's going to be able, Uguti, should it happen, they there, not just financially, emotionally, physically, and just help me raise, you know, this child.
So talk about what you just mentioned now. It's something we as guys fail to understand sometimes. When a woman's pregnant, we sometimes feel like the little that we do is enough, whereas it's something that me and my wife,
fiance, wife, yes, wife. We passed the engagement.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love it.
It's what me and my wife discussed not so long ago. Sometimes I get too busy. And to her it feels like it's a neglect, more especially during the pregnancy time. But we did discuss it. We still need to go through it just so that, because all I want, I don't want, as we take this journey of marriage, I don't want her to bring all the baggage.
The baggage.
I wouldn't call it baggage, but to bring all those
challenges
memories
that you had before.
Of course. So it's something that we as men need to do better when it comes to izinto. But my question is now.
Let me just interject.
Sure.
I always say if like my analogy of the situation, a lot of times, because I feel like men will never understand what we really go through.
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, it's always, imagine you losing your parent. And when you lose a parent, you expect family to be there, right? You expect Abu Mamkulu and, you know, family to step up, right? Imagine you lose a parent, and at that very moment, your family says, Asizingile.
Yeah, and you're alone.
How do you feel in that moment? That's how we feel when you fall pregnant and you expecting this person to do life with you because you guys are in this together, right? And then they say, I'm sorry. Which is why it becomes so difficult to forgive after somebody has hurt you, because it's like you're at your most vulnerable stage, and where they're supposed to step up, they pulled back. So even with family, like if our Mamkulu would come back, say 5 years later, and now you're doing well for yourself and whatnot, it's very difficult to forgive, because you left me at my most vulnerable state when I needed you. So it becomes very difficult even when they come back to say, okay, senkhona manje or ngiyaxolisa, or can I be in the child's life? Of course, we don't want to deny you guys access to the kids, but you also must have the grace to understand where I come from.
Yeah.
You know, so I think when I explain it like that, it's almost like they kind of
get what you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because even when you're pregnant, there's a lot of challenges, man, that we are facing. And kind of like what Fiona had said, you guys could never understand what we go through. And it's going to be like, you know. And at that time, we just want that full on 110%. You know, the trips to the doctors, the scans, every little thing that you guys, you know, are there. It's not also like we want you to be, you know, there 24/7, but the fact that you are showing your support, I think for me, it's enough. The fact that you are there and you're incognizant of the fact that I'm just going through this whole life-changing experience.
And I think it's also very difficult for men to grasp, especially at the very early stages, which is where we get very distorted, because you really don't know what's going on. Your body's changing. First trimester, right?
Nausea.
But I also realized that because you're not showing at that time, he's seeing it as
you're normal.
Because like we're normal, Lorena, right? But you were
person.
going through hell at that time. So it's a bit challenging. I feel like it's the conversations that need to be had before you actually even have a child, so that if anything happens, you're already on the same page in terms of, okay, am I ready? Are you ready? Okay. You need to be cognizant of the fact that if this does happen, this is what might happen to me. And I mean, with women also, like, you only had one child. I only have one child. So I've never been pregnant before her.
Yeah.
So even there's stuff that I can't tell you. There's stuff that I will also go through that I didn't know I'm going to go through.
That I also never experienced as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like it should just be like an open conversation of the guy and the women trying to, you know, just help each other out and make each other understand.
And also make, you know, your own rules as you go.
Yes.
Because I think also another thing that's confusing is that you'll always have people whispering in your ear, like family members, your mothers, your fathers, like, no, but we did this. My pregnancy was like, make your own rules as you go.
Yeah. All right. Oh, my question was between that age when you fell pregnant and until now, what have you learned about love and the whole experience, Yempilo? What
as a mother, or just life in general?
As a mother.
But what has that experience taught you?
Yeah, that as well. Also, your take when it comes to relationships, Nje.
Sure. Like I said, at 19, you know, I'm dating a guy who's 7 years my senior at that time, and I'm thinking, wife, you know, how, home, dog, calf.
And he's selling that also.
Not even. I'm just hearing someone who's like, you know, I love you. That's and you know, I'm 19 and.
But at 19,
I'm thinking that's just enough. You know, that's enough. But you know, I grew. And at some point, I remember when I ended the relationship, my daughter was 2 years of age. And I remember saying to him, dude, you out there living your life, right? Allow me to continue to live mine. You know, I don't want to, you know, sit here and work and try to make this work when we can see this is not going anywhere. It's okay. It didn't work out. Nomdwana. Take care of your kid and just let me be. And that's exactly what I did. And I just kept on actually giving love a chance. Well, I'm not married, but I'm still giving it a chance even now. You know? I kept on giving it a chance because I think I'm a lover generally, and I'll get into a relationship and I realize that it doesn't work out. Trying the next one and it doesn't work out. But what I normally do is I reflect. I think also it took me a while. I reflect. There was a certain relationship that knocked me down. I think I almost landed myself in ICU, and I had to sit down with myself. And I'm like, you know what, relax, calm down. And what was also very difficult about me at that time, even now. Okay, now I think I've gotten the hang of it, and I'm understanding who I am and what I want. I was born into, you know, people who are married. My parents have been married for 30 years now, right? And that is my background, you know, grew up in a home of love, warm home. Yes, it had its challenges like any household, you know, but I've always looked forward to that. I've always looked forward to getting into the relationship for the hope to get married and have kids one day. So it's always been that because of what I was, of rather how I was raised, with a loving father, a loving mother, and, a sibling and that dog and everything else. So I've always looked forward to that every time I got into relationships. So it was never getting into relationships just for the sake of, but it was just hoping, Guti, I hope one day this materializes into marriage. And that's just how I've been dealing with relationships.
You mentioned something about reflecting. What's your process of reflecting? What happens during that reflection?
I mean, obviously at that time, and it's funny, something that we were speaking about it today earlier on, is that sometimes in relationship impela, we don't want a closure, or we don't even look for closure, or we don't want to even sit down and have a conversation with SK and be like, okay, so dude, like 3 months ago, you and I were madly in love. What happened? Because I don't like this whole thing that you're going to break up with me and you'll be like, no, it's not you, it's me. I need to find myself. Be honest. Let me know, Guti. But the time I was in a relationship with you, this is what I was going through. Mention my toxic traits. I'm a human being. I probably have a toxic traits. I'm not perfect. Make me aware of those things so I can sit down and reflect and understand, okay, this is the person that I am. Also, why do I have these certain toxic traits? And, what triggers them? Because also past experiences do that. When you don't heal from certain things, when you move on to the next relationship, waba emotionally abused, it's a trigger because you never healed from that emotionally abusive relationship you were in a couple of years ago. So I think reflection was on that. Maybe let me not date anyone for the next year, because I think there was a time where I didn't date anyone for almost a year, where I just wanted to find myself and know what I wanted. And I realized, no, man, I still want marriage. I just need to fix myself. I just need to communicate better. I just also need to make sure, Guti, when these guys come to me and ask for, can I take you out on a date? I need to, on that very same date, and say, hey, I want commitment. And if you don't want commitment, please let me not waste your time.
Yeah.
I think I like that. I'm very big on reflecting as well. Because I feel like it also allows you to make sound decisions going forward. Yeah. You learn so much about yourself and what you want, your boundaries, your standards. Yeah. And also I feel like when you get to a point of reflecting, you also, like, you have this thing of, it's okay. Like, I'm here, we are on a date. I want commitment. It's okay if you don't want if you don't want that. Like, I'm not mad, you know? I'm not mad. It's what I want, and I can't expect all of us to be in the same situation or to want the same thing at the same time. So I feel like reflection does so much for you, and sometimes you might not even find the closure from somebody else. But just you sitting with yourself and saying, okay, what are my toxic traits? What was my mistake in this relationship? Going forward, how do I want to treat my relationship? And, what was there? Because it's two-sided. It can't be I was perfect and it was all on you and whatnot.
I think that's one thing. Sorry to interject. I think that's one thing as women do a lot. We tend to live a relationship and we tend to say, but SK didn't love me the way that I wanted to be loved. We tend to point fingers and say, but he was the problem. I was there. In the meantime, also, we need to be aware that it's not all men who are vulnerable who are going to talk and communicate in a relationship. And a relationship will end. Find out, Tuguti, according to him, he gave his all. But because of certain things that you did in a relationship and he didn't voice them out, then you find out, Tuguti, he was emotionally abused, but you are not aware as a woman, because as women, I think we feel like we matter in relationships. Like it needs to be me, and then you need to come to the party and understand that this is what I want. Kind of like what you said. I feel like also men need to start being honest on first dates. Be like, listen, I saw a picture of you. I like you. I don't want a fully committed relationship. Let's have a fling. And if I say, okay, I'm down with the fling, then I'm down. If I'm not, I'm not. But also I feel like men need to stop lying, because they come to us and tell us exactly what they want us to hear. Because they'll tell you that I see you as my woman, I see you as a wife. Let's do this whole thing.
Meanwhile, he doesn't want to get married.
No, meanwhile, he's not even there. So men also need to stop being honest with themselves.
Yeah. I think yeah. You're right. I think also, like, when I say, the thing is, a relationship, two-way street, right?
Sure.
I understand that men find it difficult to speak, but I'm your partner, and we are here to build.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're gonna have to talk.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because if you don't tell me, I see when now you are on a pedestal,
Yeah.
and it's all you, and there's nothing for me.
Yeah.
I feel like that is acceptable because he's accepting it and he's condoning it.
Yeah.
You know, like umuntu amvele mele, you know, kanti he's suffering. And then the relationship ends. And then now when we debrief, it's like, no,
You never give me a chance to talk.
But I can't fix what I don't know is broken.
Yeah.
So I think from both sides, you need to be comfortable enough to speak about whatever it is that you're uncomfortable with, so that we can be able to sort things out. You know, don't be afraid to say, get off your high horses.
Yeah, like not everything is about you.
Exactly.
I actually heard those words a couple of days ago where I was told, no, you can't be guns blazing at everything. Not everything is about you. Sometimes ask, how do you feel about it? And I reflected there and there, and I was like, you're right.
And sometimes you'll get mad. But it's reality. Like, no matter what, we're going to fix the issue. Because if we are in a relationship, that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to build. If you're quiet, I'll never know.
So as I'm listening to you guys, I'm getting a sense of, okay, number one, reflection.
Yeah.
Or reflecting. Accountability. Because that's where I wanted to go also. It's important what you guys say, because now it's not only about it's him who did this, it's him.
Yeah.
Because in most cases in relationships as a woman you think yimi the whole time. When you are clean, there's nothing wrong that you did in a relationship. He was abusive, he was this and this, but without looking at yourself as well. Okay, what did I do wrong? Of which it comes back again. Do you look at yourself as well? To check, okay, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Mina, myself. Before we point fingers, okay, beangafuna ukuzendlini.
Yeah.
Or beangabuya endlini, mhlambe bekabuya late, whatever. What if ukubuya endlini bekufika kube nomsindo? Ngibalekela lokho ezekhaya. Kuba nomsindo. And
why kunomsindo?
Sometimes that's your personality. Okay, let's just say because now that's your personality.
That's also
maybe you just loud.
Everyone in the house.
Maybe you just maybe you just want to control everything.
Yeah,
that's another thing. You want to control everything. You want to be on top of everything. You don't let me be a man, because sometimes I just us guys we just want to be men and take care of things sometimes. But when you always and also it also matters how you say things to me. You might say sometimes uzoti, I want you to speak, but when I speak maybe you're speaking over me and I don't want us to get into that level of disagreement or that level of arguing. You understand? So sometimes we decide just to keep quiet. Because it might escalate to something else, of which asifuna ukuya. And in my experience, mhlambe this might be a bit biased because I'm a guy. In my experience, most women fail to take accountability.
Sure.
They fail to apologize. Most of the time. I'm not saying all wonke abantu besifazane, because what I just listened to you guys, as mhlambe nani you fail sometimes. Maybe it's just this conversation. We understand. To apologize, just to say, okay, I'm sorry, I was wrong, la. You want, sometimes Nagiti, it's very important to hear those words. Babukbek, la angenzanga kahle. So that I understand what you understand the level of or the mistake that you did. So that we work in making things better moving forward. So I don't know if I'm clamping it wrong.
No, you're
accountability, we don't reflect. Maybe most of us, maybe women and men, sometimes we don't reflect right, because sometimes the communication part, I think we downplay the communication part in a sense. We think we are communicating, but we are not sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's a conversation of how are you communicating and how does the other person receive it?
Yeah.
Right? And I also feel like there should also be an understanding of, okay, maybe this is how I grew up. So this is how I receive this type of communication. So if uzong rasela, this is how I feel about it.
Sure.
You know? And I think we did touch on this a bit. I think when the relationship is still in the early stages, we should be talking about like, how are you when you're mad?
Yeah.
Like, but do you scream? Do you throw your toys?
I love
the fact because that's sorry.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. Someone utoluguti uberasa and they think that's communicating.
Yeah, they don't realize
and
that.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, sometimes I feel like I'm saying, go to e background and how you grew up. Those things should be dissected. And I say I'll put in a bit of my experience in there, right?
Yes.
So I grew up in a household where it's just me and my sister.
Yeah.
So we girls. So my dad is, you should be able to do this for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you are going to learn how to change a tire because God forbid you're stuck on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You can handle things by yourself. You know, I don't want you to depend on anyone. I want you, you know. And then I get a partner who is raised in a way of, you are the queen. I'm supposed to serve you.
Yeah.
So if you get a pancha and I'm in Joburg, I must come and fix it.
Yeah.
So we buck heads because you are saying to me, ufunuksuga wherever and come here in 17 to come and take out my tire, and I'm saying I can handle it. I don't need that kind of inconvenience. He's saying you're not allowing me to be a man. I'm saying, but then I can handle it. It's not necessary.
Obviously now it seems like you're projecting your masculinity as well.
Yes. So I feel like those conversations need to be had because at the end of the day we're going to argue, and I'm not trying to be masculine or whatnot. And then Naya, he's not trying to undermine me by saying no, I can come and handle it and whatnot. No, it's just how he's raised. I'm raised in a way that I take care of things. I need to make sure that you are okay. And I'm raised in a macho way. I can handle this by myself. Are you saying I can't handle this? No, but then are you saying I can't be, you know? So it becomes
something also that we don't discuss because background plays a very important role because even if we can discuss the background, even if we can discuss ukuthi mangwatile mina, this is what I do. I'm not gonna answer your calls. I'm not gonna block you. At that time, it's easier for us to have a conversation because I mean we're only getting to know each other, right? And we're also trying to prove points to each other. Kuti, listen, I'm the right person for you. But let's be honest, guys. Everything that you guys had discussed is going to go out of the way. Because number one, we're human first, right? I might have said, no, mina mankwatile, I listen and I don't react. But when he really pisses you off, you react. Block out, delete the number, and you're like, I'm not going to speak to him, you know, and then at a later stage you realize, okay, maybe I overreacted a bit. But it's things that you also need to discuss in the relationship and understand. I always say this, and people who are going to listen to this will be like, oh my God, she brought the fight language into it. I bring it all the time because people don't understand that as much as we ask each other in love language, there's a fight language as well. It's something that we overlook because if fight language yakone my fan, you are a person who you want to, let's sit down, let's talk about it. I'm angry. Don't even look my direction, you know. And now we need to come to an understanding and an agreement. Okay, now we understand. Let me let it be. And then when she's okay, we'll talk. But not all the time. Sometimes I need to do what he does. Okay, you're angry, but let's talk about it now. So it's something that we also tend to overlook in a relationship. That we don't want to discuss that.
Sure.
And how do we come back from it?
Because all right, I think the most important thing is ukuthi sizibuze ukuthi silolani, are we fighting each other or are we fighting for this relationship ukuthi isebenze? Because sometimes we mistake ukulwa thola ukuthi sekuba silwa with each other, now we are fighting, we are at war with each other. Instead ukuthi sithi we are fighting this problem. If there's a problem, we're fighting this problem. Look at it ngaleyo ndlela. Possibly kuzoba right. I wanted us to maybe check this one. Dineo Ranaka. Sis Dineo.
I love her. I'll just say, mina ngiyamthanda. It's fine. I don't care what you say. I love her.
Okay. Let's. It's a long video. Ne? I want us to maybe discuss what she's saying. It's a clip from TikTok and yeah. I'll just play it.
Because offer peace. Yeah.
No, she doesn't give you peace. You just know how to control her and manipulate her. Let me tell you why I say that. A person who receives peace is peaceful within themselves. They're very respectful. They're very mindful. So you don't want peace. You want somebody that you can control, somebody that won't ask you questions, somebody that will not hold you accountable. But here's what you get when you get a good helpmate, a good woman. She will challenge your POV. She will challenge your perception. She will challenge your actions. She will hold you accountable to a standard of love that she has set for herself. Now, that is a woman that can give you peace because you receive the inspiration to become a better man. And when you become a better man, you move differently. And automatically you inspire in her an energy that is an energy of submission.
Yes.
Which, when she agrees with your alignment and your moves, and she understands and respects that, and supports that and validates that, she will move with you in synchronicity and not in a different direction. So essentially, if you're a fucked up human being and you're saying, Musadi wa Sekobo wa Onoroko is the one who's going to give you peace, no, she's not giving you peace. She's running away from her own power. Because an empowered woman is a helpmate, and you cannot be a coach without telling your player how fucked up they are. So you have to hear the truth. You have to hear the truth.
No, that is 100%
so that means
true,
you are
though.
narcissistic and you are abusive emotionally and otherwise.
It's
but
true.
It's a fact.
But how many of these women are actually out there?
There's many of us. You just don't know what to do with us because you exist within your ego.
No.
You don't want to humanize yourself. You're always chasing the next best. You don't want to be satisfied with your own shortcomings. Look at yourself, see a shortcoming and work with what you have. You can't even work with what you have. That's why you are constantly seeking what you can't attain outside. Learn to accept your shortcomings and say, this is what I have. This is my field of play. I'm going to lay my tent here and erect it. But y'all guys are just, you play too much.
Nah,
you even play with your own gifts as men, your own spiritual gifts as men. You play too much. You even play with your own power. You play too much. You play too much. You are the source of deconstructed pockets of society. You are the construct. Patriarchy is on men. Politics is on men. Religion is on men. Crime is on men. You guys are so gifted, and it's in your sexual power. You play too much. And that's why women are even playing with you. That's why you don't see a pool of good women. Because we try to please you so much, we're even willing to downgrade our standards to play with you. Because in your leadership, you play too much.
But I think that's also a problem on its own, coming from, look, you see what you mentioned earlier on, Dineo.
I need an energy drink. I'm told you make energy drinks.
All right. So, ladies,
clean.
What's your take on that?
Manje clean.
Clean it in what way? Elaborate.
I love everything that she said, and it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Because men have a tendency of saying, Guti, I left Fiona because begena peace.
Okay.
Did you enforce it? Did you enforce that peace? because you can't leave a relationship because there isn't peace while you don't enforce it. You expecting ukuthi Fiona angathethi because when awubuyanga. You're expecting Fiona not to correct you because when you feel like ngiyazi mangifika endlini uzongithethisa thi ngihlale emotweni kancane and gather my strength. Do what is right. Do what is right for you as a man.
Sure.
And if you know that you're going to be hanging out with the boys and you're not going to come back, obviously there is going to be a fight, but communicate and say, listen, I'm hanging with the boys, it's 2 a.m. Babe, I'm not going to be able to drive, I'm drunk, I'm going to hang out, or I'm going to sleep over at a friend's place.
Yeah.
Whether you do that or not, you communicated. This is you keeping quiet.
Sure.
And then the following day, it's a Sunday, because now you know Fiona's going to be here and you're going to say it's not peaceful. You didn't enforce that peace.
Okay.
I think hence when we had that conversation earlier on when we were talking about endlin Gakulun, and I said why. Because I think men also have a tendency of not taking accountability for their actions. And also we are at no, we're not crazy.
Not.
What did you do?
Sure.
You understand? Or they are controlling. Or wait, what did you do? If there was no problem,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think the another thing is that men fail to understand that we move with what they move with. Like you set the tone
Lead
in the
and I'll follow.
relationship. Like when you take care of me,
Yeah.
I'll take care
but
of you.
magati submission will come automatically when you tap into your masculinity.
Sure.
I can submit.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it
understand.
becomes easy.
And I think she's right, Magati. You know, the way, I don't know if this guy, him, the other guy, he intended to say it like that.
Oh.
And, you know, and put her in the house. That means your basis of picking a wife is somebody who's going to say, Yebo Baba, and
all
not
the
question
time.
you.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
And if you find a woman who doesn't question you and who can't, I don't want to say I don't want to say discipline, but
then it
who
becomes
can't
challenging on their end.
Yeah, because you're not gonna grow.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna say it's okay, come back at 10 with the boy, you're still a boy. You will never grow up because there is no sense of accountability. Yeah, understand?
Yeah.
And those kind of things will always reflect in other parts of your life. In as much as if when I was to have accountability, it means nasemsebenzini. You are
And
not
you
somebody
fall.
who because you are not that person. You're not self-disciplined. You're not. But if you find somebody who says, not here,
Yeah.
not here,
Not under my watch.
not under my watch, and you are not this person, because I also feel like the delivery of how I guide you
Yeah.
or how I speak of you is also very, very important. You understand? But when I sit down with you and I say, do you not see your potential
As a man.
as a man?
As a man.
Do you not see ukuthi mawuphuma laphaya and you don't come back? This is the impact. Do you not see that we have a family? In order for you to be a good dad,
Do you also not see
do you not see?
that
Do you
what are you teaching these kids as well? If you're not going to come back, what are you teaching?
Unfortunately, Fifi, that's not how a lot of women communicate these things. When he comes back late, that's not how they communicate these things. And
But I also feel like, in as much as, yes, I'm there to guide you, like, you're also an adult.
Yeah.
Like, we are both adults. You know very well.
That's
I'm not going to be happy. That's why you even discipline yourself. Or you know that it's wrong.
okay, let's look at the other side of the coin, because yes, le kazayo makes sense 100%. But let's look at the woman onganaphisi yena. Besides ukuthi mina ngibuya late okwenzakalani.
Are you seeing it now? Are you seeing it now?
Yeah,
like
because it's been there.
Yeah, are you
Ubone nini
ukuthi akanaphisi?
And also, you dated this person for 3 years, and later on, now you're discovering this person is not peaceful. The first year when you were dating this person, there were red flags. Why did you not attend to them?
You know, sometimes it's the very same thing why you hlala nomuntu akshaya why uhlala because you are hoping ukuthi maybe one day uzoba right. Maybe there's a lot of things othola ukuthi right, it's what you like about this person. There's more that you like than le peace le. And uthola ukuthi the peace at the end of the day or as it is hamba, it's what matters most to you.
But then that's the thing. We need to stop dating people or getting into a relationship and hoping to change people. A person should change himself for the betterment of this relationship.
Yeah. You're right.
I can't get into a relationship and say, "Ngiyabono SK philimpilo yabangani," you know, always bowling every single weekend with the friends. And I'm FUFU the Thick Lady. He doesn't know who I am. He's going to change. No, I need to bring, you know, that sense of, you know, direction and the sense of peace and the sense of acknowledgement. Ukuthi wena mawuphambile uthi nge-weekend uhlele namangani utsho, but this is the third weekend I'm hanging out with the boys. When do I get time to spend with this woman? Already you're thinking about it. That's where you start changing. But I can't expect you to change. For me, it needs to come from you.
I think the one thing that that we need to stop doing, men and women, is dating potential. Like, stop dating potential. Date the person that you see in front of you. Stop dating somebody and thinking, no, man,
I want this person to be like
No. That is not going to change. In actual fact, what I have heard a lot of people say is, because I'm not married, is that when you, and it makes sense, that when you married, whatever it is that you didn't like, is times 10. Because now you live with this person. Everything. So if you cannot tolerate it in the talking stages, in the relationship, then let it go.
Because I can't overlook it while we are having a relationship, all because I want you to stay, all because in the name and then when now we are married, now I want you to be aware of all of these things that you've been doing. I need to start now. Well, Sizwana would say, hey, Baba, this thing, I don't like it. It doesn't work for me.
But also, sometimes you meet someone, then 10 years later, they're not the same person as the person you met. We as people say shinja as this cat is harm. What if now I met you 10 years ago, then you've changed to become this person, guti, number one, unomsindo, and ngitholunga namsindo. Number two, you've completely changed, and in the things that matters the most, Kimi, and which sometimes is tata is big to the point uguti. Let's say I decide uguti this is not the person I want to be with. Let's see again.
Okay.
You understand?
What I'll say is this, right, is that people evolve.
Sure.
You will not be the same person you were 5 years ago. Great. But people don't switch.
It's not,
wake up there's people who do it, who you are in a relationship and, guys, there's people who do it.
And they just completely switch.
They completely switch, right? But what are the odds? They're very few and far in between, right? But for me, it's, when did this person change, right? As we evolve, if we are married, we need to evolve together. And now this is where the part where I usually say, let's treat a relationship like a business. Businesses, you have meetings. Businesses, you reflect, you dissect, you
before
review,
the end of the year.
You plan, you make goals, you understand. So if the communication between the two of you is intact, you will never find yourself in a position where 10 years you wake up and you're like,
why?
No. Because what makes lomsindo is because there are things that have been carried in the relationship from time to time
Triggers.
until a point where she's like, next year because you've been doing this and now where you're like, no, you've also been. But if you take the small steps of every week we sit down, are you still happy with me, love? Such a you know, are you still happy with me, love? You know,
I feel like reflecting in a relationship, it's important, and not when we are not okay.
Yes.
When we are happy, You know, when we're out on a date, when we're out on a dinner, you know, let's reflect. Okay, we've been dating for a year. How's it been? You know, I'm still happy. I'm picking that, you know, you know, every time I do this, you seem like you react this way. It's important to also reflect because it's a trigger. You know,
yes.
I'm being triggered all the time because I'm not communicating about this. You're not aware of it. You keep doing it. You know, I'm now feeling like this person is not understanding me because I'm also not communicating it.
Yeah.
And this is why the following day I blow up and I become this different person.
And I think the more often it happens, the more time you invest in anything, that's the probability of it working is higher, right? So if now I'm going to open a business today and then I reflect after 2 years, I'm probably not going to catch up.
Yeah,
a
you're
lot
not,
has happened.
because a lot has happened, you know.
changed, you know. But if weekly, I'm like, okay, team, let's sit down this week. What made you unhappy? You know, no, I didn't like that you know, I was cooking there and you didn't tap me a little bit there. Like you know, now I learn. It's okay. My woman loves affection. Let me, you know, and it's also easier for you to take those actions. You understand? Because now, I see it's been 5 months that you haven't touched me or whatever. And then I'm like, you don't even touch me. Why don't I? It feels very foreign for you to also do it. When 5 months have passed, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm like, but like, when are you, you know, when we were dating, how now it's this shadile 2 weeks, you're not, you know, can you?
What's happening?
So it becomes easier because it hasn't been left for a very long time. So I think the important thing is the reflecting part and the making sure that you are actually growing together. You know, you're growing together.
You said you turned to Dineo.
I love her.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna drink a lot. I don't get to do this on radio.
Sure.
Feels so nice.
I also like.
Please.
I also like Dineo.
Thank you.
There are things as show you of which I know. I know Shakon.
Thank you.
But there are things also where Dineo was a person that she does, and I don't agree with Nazone. And I think that's also okay because now I cannot nguvumelana na yonke into esho nami. There are things that we won't see eye to eye. For instance, do you remember that fight that he had with that guy?
Yeah.
I don't know where it started, but that was not the way it was supposed to go, right? That I don't believe that was the way she should have. I don't know what happened, how angry she was. I cannot dictate how angry she or but that was in my personal opinion, that was not the way to go. I don't know where the because now we're looking at this
snippet
from TikTok, and maybe the conversation was an hour long conversation.
Definitely.
So but yes, kunezinto ezishoyo of which is right, and kunezinye izinto othola ukuthi even if it's right, they need both parties ukuthi bafike to exactly. Uthola ukuthi she can say whatever she says now, but uthola ukuthi as a woman you expect less into less. It's the same thing. Let's say for instance, in a relationship, for action, for tinda to happen, it's the man. Initiators zonke lezi zinto lezi. Us as men, we also like bamba touch me here and there so that the action izokwenzeka. And when I ngiyeka, then it goes to the 5 months engenzekanga next. Then now sekuthiwa, but why didn't you as my woman, as my wife, as my girlfriend, as my partner, why didn't you initiate any of that thing? Because now I cannot all the time initiate it, listen to less. But
but do you communicate it though? Because that's important.
Sometimes we do
to make me aware as your partner to say, I want you to initiate sex.
Okay. We do. Sometimes utoluguti when I communicate, you don't awungizwa. You understand? And or maybe awungizwa. We discuss, then at the end of the day, there's nothing that you do. Now utoluguti namita, hey, it's whatever then. There was I think the pastor Monroe.
Miles Monroe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He says there's nothing as painful to indoda ukuthi alale nomfazi wakhe and feel like he's raping umfazi wakhe, because sometimes uthola ukuthi I initiate when I saw yenza just because it's been 2 months, let me just do it, but I can sense that you are not there with me. We don't know what kwenzakaleni until kuze kufike lapho. It's whatever, sharp. My question to both of you guys, Cecilia ngakhona, how important is therapy or counseling in relationships, in marriage? What do you think? What's your take on that?
Okay, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I haven't been in therapy, but I've seen what therapy does, right?
Before, what happened here?
Why are you asking me on air? Really, this guy.
Askis. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been checking it.
It was from my pregnancy shots.
Oh, okay.
So when I went for my monthly shots, I don't think Bebang injector at the right, because at some point it had a lump and then it went down and then that, so now it's
all right. Askis. Carry on.
Wow.
Yeah, askis. Sorry.
Yeah. So what did you think, Bang Shaile?
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna say,
talk about being abused.
Yeah.
And you know how he always says,
we're diverting because now you're asking this question, but I wanted to go back to Leaga Dineo where he said he's not happy with how she had dressed that guy. I think it was Chava on that clip.
Sure.
It's just a pity that we would never find out where it started, because I feel like there's 3 sides to a story.
Yes.
My side, Fiona's side, and then there's the truth.
Sure.
Ngeke sazi ukuthi what transpired and what led her to react in that manner.
But was that the appropriate reaction? I understand which we cannot say but let's say something worse happened. Was that the appropriate way to react?
I understand what you're saying. I understand. I don't remember the clip. I love Dineo for her point of views and
obviously it's not a way
I
to
don't but I don't really like follow her like personal life. I just love her views. But also I understand what you're saying in terms of, is it appropriate? Because in the same way that I say noma ngayenza noma ngakwatisa kangakanani, you're not allowed to put your hands on me.
Exactly.
Yes. So there is an appropriate way to react to a situation. And if umshayile, I don't know what happened. If umshayile, then no. There's a better way of handling things, no matter how
angry or
upset you
also,
are.
it's important to say how you speak to me when you are angry. It's very important.
Because he was called, if I was that man, Benzo's Valelendini for the whole man. The things she was saying, useless. You're not a man. You are. You understand those things. It's a lot. It's a lot that she was saying. But
therapy.
Therapy. Like I'm a big advocate of therapy. I've never been in therapy, but I've seen what therapy does, and I also think that sometimes we think that we can handle things on our own, and we really can't. Especially like when it comes to, let's say for instance, like when it comes to marriage, right? If you have gotten to a point where you're in a marriage and things have gone far along, right? It's very difficult for you to talk it out because a lot has happened. You have done me wrong, I've done you wrong, and whoever is speaking is speaking from a point of defense, and it'll probably not work. You need a third person who's going to be able to neutralize things,
mediate,
who's going to be able to say, hold it there,
let
him
finish.
speak.
Yes.
And then he speaks, and then, okay, do you understand what he's saying, right? So in marriage, I feel like that. Personally, mawiwani, and you're just single and you're just attending the uyuani. I feel like what therapy does, it propels you to ask yourself the right questions. Because at the end of the day, even though you feel like you can figure things out, because you don't have the right questions, the answers don't come.
Yeah.
So for somebody to sit on the other side and say, and also make you understand your psyche, also make you understand why you do certain things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the areas that we think are a problem in our lives, you might find that it is not. It's actually the area that you think it's intact that is not right.
Yeah.
Influenced by, for instance, let's say, like you work hard, right? And for you, it's like, no, but I'm a boss, babe. You know, like and they come to tell you, the reason why you work hard is because when you never had anybody who was there for you.
Yeah.
So this is a defense mechanism
Yeah,
that
it's
comes
how you
from,
cope.
not that when I
Yeah.
call feminine, not that when you don't like being a lady, not that, you understand
Yeah.
what I mean? So it propels you to be able to ask yourself, it asks you the right questions, to have the right answers and be able to introspect. So for me, I feel like therapy is important. And I feel like also it's important for most of the time, every new thing that happens in your life, you probably need somebody who's going to put perspective on that. When you become a mother, they're like, okay, I understand. This has changed. I understand that you're not going to be the same. I understand that you're not going to have the same time that you had. Also understand that it's okay for you not to be hands-on with your child all the time, because you still need to work. Be graceful with yourself, because those are the things that we struggle with, right? But we struggle with, especially us women, with I want to be everything at the same time. I want to be super mom, super boss, super wife, independent. You understand? But you need to come to a realization that when you do one will always suffer.
Yeah.
If I'm here, I'm not with my daughter.
True. And I everything that Fiona had said, like I think it's something that should not be downplayed. With self-development before we even get to relationship, marriage counseling, with self-development. I was actually having a conversation with my mother on Sunday, and for the very first time I sat my mother down. I'm like, I'm going through this. I don't know why years later it's affecting me now, but it is. And it's giving me sleepless nights, and now I'm questioning a whole lot of things about myself. And I feel like now I can't focus on certain things, because what I feel like past traumas, triggers, things that you've gone through are now hindering you from moving forward and accepting certain blessings that are meant to come to your life, because you're not dealing with this. And I said to her, I think I need therapy. I need to sit down with someone who's going to make me heal from these past traumas. Someone's going to make me understand, and someone is also going to help me forgive when I even never got that sorry. Because that's also very important. Siyahetheka singabantu, and we're always looking for someone to apologize and acknowledge. But what if that someone never comes that? So you're going to stay there with yourself with this anger and this resentment, because when ulindolo sorry, so that's where therapy comes in. Where you're able to heal. And moving on with their life, like unbothered.
I think another thing is the fact that, like you're saying now, that I'm dealing with something that happened a long time ago, right? It's that healing for people is different. And somebody might have asked, there's people who also grieve differently. Like and they are just blank. Like life just moves, you know, and people are like, oh,
and that's like, that's their coping mechanism.
Yes, actually. That's their coping mechanism. And then you find out 3 years later she's now breaking down. You understand? So it's so tricky. But when you have therapy, it's unfortunate that it's expensive, therapy, or we have to pay for therapy, or whatever the case might be.
I actually wanted to go there, for someone who doesn't have money, which is the best way of therapy they can use, so to say, so that at least, because in my mind I'm thinking, okay, church, okay, abo mama bashadile bahlangane bodwa, you understand? Which is the other way, or the alternative way?
I feel like people have like people start it's not really self-counseling, it's like you're saying, and because sometimes, in as much as it's not gonna diminish the problem, but it helps to have somebody say, maybe I've been through the same thing, you know, and this is how I got out of it, or this is how I coped with it, or and it gives you a certain it's not going to heal you, but it gives you a certain hope
and
that you know, and perspective. Because you know what, maybe things will be okay, you know. And I think it's with mental health issues, it's such a big thing, because in as much as like we throw around depression so loosely, you understand, because umuntu depressed, you can hardly even get out of bed, you know. And for you to even say, I'm gonna seek therapy, that is a long shot.
It is a long shot. And I think why words like therapy, depression, anxiety are words that are thrown around a lot right now, because our generation is totally different, and it relies on technology, your social media, your phones. Depression be corner, guys, got the con. And our parents and our grandparents went through it. It's just that they handled it differently.
And because they didn't know what it was.
Yeah, they didn't know what it was, because uzo ugogo was next door, uzo landu gogo longale bahambi bayema simin. While they're doing that, they're talking, they're debriefing. You know, that walk from to uyolanda manzi emfuleni, that's therapy. You are clearing your head, you are talking about it, and that's one thing that we don't do. We want to sit and mope and be on our phones and be on social media.
And I think we live in I think about my child, and I'm like, Lord God, like in maga figure to our age, how are things going to be? Because another thing that scares me is that the very same devices that we are always on feed you more of what you're watching. Right? True. So if you are in a state where you're watching isn't that are depressing, that are not building, that are, you understand, that's what it's going to be giving you the whole time. And what happens to your brain at that time? And I think that's why, like, our suicide rates are so high.
Because you're feeding it.
Because you feed it. Every time when you're on the phone, they're feeding it.
And I'm going to swear right now, I don't know if I'm allowed, but this algorithm thing, I always say algorithm is a bitch. Because once you start Googling on how, what is depression, what is suicide, what is mental illness, then everything in your phone, you're going to go to Instagram. Now feeds are talking about depression, anxiety, and Instagram, you know. Now you're seeing people who are crying and stuff like that. You're going to feel that because you're already feeding that to yourself. And into guys, therapy might be expensive, but talking helps.
Sure.
Talking helps. I was telling a friend, would say, guys, I talk. I think that's probably why I'm on radio, and people don't realize that it's healing for me. Immediately when I switch on that mic and I put on my headsets and I talk, it's healing. Because now I get to share what I'm going through with the next person. And whether when you don't take it or you take it or you give me that advice, that load has already been lifted off my shoulders. Now I don't need to go back home and think about it. But now I'm thinking about, okay, what's the solution now? I've debriefed. What do I do now?
And I think that's why, like you were saying, Gucci, women will meet and whatnot. That's why now you'll see there's a lot of movements, I'll say for lack of a better word, that encourage men to meet and talk. They encourage that space, you know. You would say, we're having a jazz Sunday, or whatever they call it, you know. But it's like a mini men's session, so that we get men used to the idea of, I can speak about my issues. I'm not alone. Ubanban is going through it. This is how you dealt with it. Okay, maybe I can do that. You know. So I think it's very important. You were saying your question was, if we don't have money for therapy, speaking. There's actually a guy. I'll mention this. There's actually a guy. Ubongane Bunolo is her name, and he runs an event every year. Called Girl You Matter. I did deco for him last year, and I actually attended the event. It was such a beautiful space to be in, guys. Like when I say vulnerability amongst women, it was mostly women. Vulnerability amongst women without the fear of judgment. And it's almost like, it's crazy because it was almost like you feel safe. You feel like, I don't know these people. They're strangers. But you don't feel like when you leave, they're gonna
judge you.
They're gonna judge, or they're gonna air out your
and I
laundry.
think that's what's men's
beautiful.
biggest problem, because I feel like men could easily do these events, but men are in competition with each other. And this is why it's so difficult for a man who's going to come now and share whatever it is that they're going through, because I'm in competition with that guy. So it starts there.
I think when talking about that, it depends on the circle. Oguyo, if or your competition, there is a healthy competition. There is leoguti near Comilan. I know blind. So if you talk about those, definitely we hold back. But there are people who tell we're pushing to the same direction. Say magvela something nyak said. Obviously, when I have a problem, I know this guy always has my back. Then I can go and talk to this guy. He's my friend. So, but if you talk about those people, obviously,
is it a competition, or is it an issue of masculinity and ego?
It's all under one basket.
Because I feel like with men, and that's why you'd hear most men say,
yeah,
because it's like,
also
like, no, like people can't know our issues. And if you say people can't know our issues, it means people can't know your issues. If you're the one who's saying people can't know our issues, then it means when you get into a space where you are required or where you are encouraged to be vulnerable, it'll be very difficult for you, because your masculinity says
no one can know what's happening.
No one can know what's happening.
Yeah. So how easy would it be for you guys to actually sit a kawashi, bese niya debriefer as a gents, without you thinking good Eshazo SK kusasa indaba sengizwe seyikhuluma ubanban, because you guys have a tendency of also doing that.
Most of the time, okay, in my experience, most of the time we siyaringa, but ayibi ukuthi manje seyiba deep ngaleyo ndlela. Uzokhuluma imfana yazi ngistress wayilo mfazi lapha endlini. Mfana hayi, you understand? Uthola ukuthi athi ke abafazi bayasokolisa mfana. Nami nginaleyo nkingi. But it's more, it sounds like in passing. It's more like in passing, but there's something I gain lapho. And in most cases, in most guys, most real men don't gossip that much. I don't know, abanye, you understand? We don't. Like you guys?
No.
We don't.
Men.
No. You guys gossip. Us, it's natural. We are natural gossipers. Vele style women. Y'all gossip.
No. Okay, maybe
Y'all gossip.
Maybe the people I know don't. But nah. Yeah, maybe pillow talk here.
Yes, pillow talk. We are baby and better. And then what happened?
Men gossip.
Yeah, Anisho. My woman wants to. Then I'm like, okay, nyalalelo. Okay, how can I say? Yeah, but I won't take the same story. I won't take the same story.
You will. You will.
No.
Because Emma Chideni, it's the same with us. Emma Chideni, ni crew, ni seven. There is that one person you are close to. Yes. There's that one person. To indaba mhlawumbe Emma Chideni akafiki, but it's still lingering.
Yeah.
You know, you guys do that. You know?
Yes, that's true.
But not like you guys. But yeah, this has been nice.
Beautiful. We actually even forgot to ask a question.
That's supposed to be interviewing me, but no.
We forgot. I wanted to ask you about radio. Have you always wanted to be on radio? Oh my goodness.
On the next one. So
on the next one.
Also, I'm coming back.
Yeah, most definitely. I think as we discussed, I think you ungena khaxa kule puzzle.
Right.
Oh wow!
Like I said, with the bang.
Yeah, with the bang. So if
guys, I just got a job.
Yeah, just join in, man. I mean. Just come in. So we have a new
co-host. Right? Are you agreeing? Are you agreeing?
The more the merrier. But yeah, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Indaba ye radio sizoyingenela sikhulume we still gonna sesisuke savele nje saya
you know us though.
we diverted yeah, but I'm here saying that I just got a job, so we'll discuss radio in our next episode. I've been dying to say this.
Wow,
like guys, on our next episode. Yeah.
Next time you do the intro.
Yeah, so sizozingenela as you normally say, we're gonna be
Debriefing.
Dango.
Love it.
It's the L&R podcast and we debrief. Dango.
Guys, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. Please. We're almost to what? I don't know. But yeah we're almost there. Sure. Spay. Says right.